If only someone had told me these things when I was a student for the very first time, my academic journey would have been different. Not just slightly better, but transformed in a way that would have saved me years of stress, confusion, and wasted effort. Because the truth is simple, yet deeply overlooked. Studying is not about locking yourself in a room for hours, drowning in books, and forcing your brain to take in information it is no longer capable of absorbing. Instead, real studying is a science, an art, and a disciplined method of working with your brain rather than against it. And this is exactly what Dr. Marty Lobdell, a respected psychology professor, discovered after years of teaching students who were struggling, overwhelmed, and exhausted, not because they were incapable, but because they did not know how to study in a way that activated learning, memory, motivation, and long-term comprehension. And when he realized that most students were approaching studying in the least efficient way possible, he created a system, simple, practical, and life-changing, that could take an average student and turn them into an A-plus performer in just one semester. And as you listen to this, I want you to imagine how drastically your life could change if you stopped studying harder and finally learned how to study smarter. Because this is where the first major hook enters. Your brain is not built for endless studying, and the moment your concentration begins to slide, you're not learning anymore. You're just pushing yourself uphill with no results, like shoveling against the tide. And this is the mistake almost every student in the world makes. They believe that the longer you sit, the more you learn. But in reality, after 25 to 30 minutes, your efficiency drops sharply, your ability to store information collapses, and your motivation evaporates. Which is why Dr. Lobdell emphasizes one powerful rule. When your focus slips, take a break. Not a long one, not an hour, just a short strategic 5-minute reset that recharges your mental battery, restores your clarity, and conditions your brain to enjoy studying instead of fearing it. Because the human brain repeats what feels rewarding and avoids what feels punishing, meaning that if studying feels like misery, your brain will reject it every single time you try to begin. But when you break your sessions into focused intervals with small, enjoyable rewards at the end, your brain begins to associate studying with satisfaction, progress, and lightness rather than dread. And this one shift alone can double or triple your effectiveness. But of course, studying smarter doesn't stop here. Another deeply overlooked reason students cannot perform well is that they have no dedicated study environment, no place that trains their brain to enter study mode automatically. And this is where Dr. Lobdell's famous study lamp technique becomes gold. In a dorm room or a bedroom where you sleep, eat, relax, watch videos, scroll your phone, and talk to people, your brain has hundreds of mixed associations. And when you try to study in the same space, your brain becomes confused, distracted, and unfocused. But when you take even a small corner of your room, add a specific light, and declare that whenever this lamp is on, you are in study mode and nothing else is allowed, something magical happens. Your brain builds a conditioned response. Just like athletes who feel energized the moment they step into a gym, your mind becomes sharper the moment that lamp turns on. And over time, your concentration becomes automatic, your sessions become smoother, and your productivity increases so much that even if you study less time overall, you learn more than before. And what's even more surprising is that students who followed this simple technique, just the lamp rule, jumped an entire grade point higher than those who didn't, proving that environment is not a small factor. It is a game-changing foundation for effective learning. And yet, even if your environment is perfect, and even if your study sessions are well-timed, you will still struggle unless you understand the next crucial principle: the difference between memorizing facts and understanding concepts. Because most students confuse the two and waste enormous time on rote repetition, reading the same notes again, repeating terms until their brain is numb, believing that this is studying. But the truth is that memorizing without understanding is like building a house on sand. Nothing stays, nothing lasts, and nothing truly develops. So before you study anything, ask yourself, is this a fact or a concept? Because facts are small pieces of information that can be memorized, but concepts are the larger meanings, the systems, the relationships, the mechanisms, and the reasons behind those facts. And if you understand the concept, you rarely forget the fact. For example, memorizing the name of a bone in the human body is a fact, but understanding what that bone does, how it moves, why it matters, and how it connects to other bones gives you a deeper mastery that stays with you for life. meaning that concept-based learning is not only more effective, it is more permanent, more powerful, and more meaningful for exams, assignments, and real-world thinking. But even after mastering facts and concepts, one final pillar can make or break your academic performance: sleep. Because most students proudly sacrifice their sleep, believing that studying late into the night is the sign of hard work, discipline, and dedication. But neuroscience proves the opposite. Sleep is not an optional luxury, it is the foundation of memory consolidation, which is the process that takes what you study during the day and locks it into your long-term memory through REM cycles. And when you don't sleep enough, your brain simply cannot store what you learned, meaning you can study for hours, lose sleep, feel exhausted, and still wake up forgetting everything. Because without proper REM sleep, your brain never had the chance to permanently save the information. And this is why students who improve their sleep often see a dramatic increase in performance without changing anything else. Because when your brain is well rested, your memory improves, your focus sharpens, your learning accelerates, and your mood stabilizes, allowing you to study more effectively and live more peacefully. And if you know anyone who suffers from sleep apnea, you will hear them say that their memory feels destroyed, not because they are aging or losing intelligence, but because they are waking up too often to complete full REM cycles, proving once again that sleep is not just rest, it is mental fuel, emotional stability, and intellectual power. And the best part is that improving your sleep is simple. Reduce caffeine before bedtime, avoid screens an hour before sleeping, exercise lightly in the evening, follow a consistent sleep schedule, and create a bedtime ritual that signals your brain to wind down. Because the moment you prioritize sleep, your academic life changes, your personal life stabilizes, and your mental clarity becomes one of your greatest strengths. And when you combine all these principles, strategic breaks, dedicated study environment, concept-based learning, and proper sleep, you unlock a study system that not only makes learning easier, but makes it enjoyable, sustainable, and deeply rewarding. Because success in academics is not about being born smart. It is about using smart strategies that align with how the brain naturally learns. And once these habits solidify into routine, they carry you forward automatically, giving you the confidence, performance, and results you always dreamed of. And remember one thing that every high achiever knows deeply: dreams don't work unless you do. And when you build a disciplined, smart, efficient study system, you are not just preparing for exams. You are designing a future where your knowledge becomes your power, your habits become your advantage, and your life becomes the proof that studying smarter is the true key to unlocking your highest potential.